Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pravijacharya Storu Shishimats Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pravijacharya Storu Shishimats Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki. Anantikoti Vaishnavrind ki. Namacharya Slaridas Thakur ki. Prem Sakaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavrind ki. Sisi Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavan Navadip Dham ki. Gangamai Jamunamai ki. Bhakti Devi Tulasi Devi ki. Samaveta Bhaktavrind ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So today we will be discussing from Hari Suri Prabhu's diary, chapter 9, from March 6, 1976. I'll paraphrase most of it, and I will also give some realizations on some of the points. And please also feel free to put your hand up and also add to what I'm saying at any point in time you feel you'd like to do so. So it's around about 6:30 a.m. So Prabhupada went to these senior sannyasis to the Chaitanya Gaudiya Math to visit Govinda Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada was received very cordially by them. And they sat at the samadhi, or viewing the samadhi of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Srila Prabhupada offered his obeisances to his Guru Maharaj, and he sat on a marble floor and with lots of members who gathered around. And then they spoke, they talked, and they had gulab jamuns passed around to the visitors, whoever were present. So from this we can learn that the reception was very cordial, and offering of obeisances to the spiritual master. We should always try to offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, unless you have some physical ailments or some ailment and you cannot do so. That's also okay. You can pay your respects to Srila Prabhupada when you walk in. And that actually brings you closer to the person. Because the more you offer obeisances, your material attachments decrease. That's the understanding of at least one disciple who Prabhupada instructed to offer obeisances to his parents, who are also his spiritual master. Brahmananda, Brahmananda. So, and then he found that his attachment for Srila Prabhupada increased, and he became detached from his parents. So that is also necessary. Then after about 25 minutes, Prabhupada then returned to the Mandir, the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, because it was now time to greet the deities and to give his lecture on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he spoke from the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th chapter, text 28. There's no elaboration on that now, but we'll make that point of his punctuality. Punctuality is very important. I learned this when I was in school, and we were never late at school. We had to be very punctual. If we came late, then we have to stay in after school for that duration of time. Maybe a half an hour or an hour or something like that, So the thing about deity worship, one must be completely pure, that in terms of cleanliness and punctuality. Otherwise, there'll be some offense. And Srila Prabhupada said this it was not in the diary, I picked it up in one of his letters to a devotee, Sri Govinda Das, in 31st January 1973. So we have to be punctual. We can learn from Prabhupada of his punctuality. And when deities are installed in temples, you have to take a lot of personal care. And deity worship is very regulative. And you have to follow the regulative principles very rigidly. If somebody is breaking the principles and going on the altar, that's very dangerous. That's not good. Especially for the worship of Radha and Krishna. Especially. And the person who's breaking the principle should just not come. You don't even have to tell the pujari, just don't come. Because sometimes it's embarrassing, because they'll only know that they're breaking the principle. So Srila Prabhupada himself followed a very strict schedule, no matter where he was. And even, taking prasadam, he would exactly take at 1 o'clock. And, whilst I was reading, last night, late last night, because we had a late night with all these boys, so I was leading till midnight. And just like if when Prabhupada would take prasadam, if there were guests in the room, then he would stop. He'd stop his conversation with them, and he would close the conversation basically and walk to his adjoining room to take prasadam. He was very punctual. But one day, one of the devotees who was serving him brought the prasadam a little late. And Prabhupada sent her away saying, "Take it away. If you can't be on time, I don't want it. I was ready to eat at 1." And the devotee's name was Palika, who was a good devotee and served Prabhupada the Lord. She left the room crying. And just to teach a lesson, Prabhupada didn't eat the lunch that day. He didn't eat the lunch. Because he was explaining that, where once the body starts to produce acids, then it's time to eat. And your mouth starts like watering when you see the prasadam. So if it's a little late, it's not good. It's not good. And what is the value of punctuality in Krishna consciousness? Just like each of us have some effect and influence on others. Is that not so? Just like when you go to the school, Vidyapati Prabhu, you have to be on time, isn't it? Because all the individual players in a community make up that basic environment. When devotees come together to discuss issues, but some come late, it is somewhat offensive to those who wait, because it shows a lack of disrespect to the others. Sometimes it's not cannot be helped, but then in exceptional circumstances, when you make people wait, then you're not really appreciating them or minimizing the importance of their engagements. Whenever I taught a class, I was always before all the students, because I felt that otherwise, when you walk in, they are all seated, they may have to get up, and you feel important. Is that not so? So you have to be very careful about these things, these subtle things. And more things can be done when we are punctual. And we have to understand that we try to be more conscious about time because it is the Guru's time. You're doing everything on behalf of the Guru. And the Guru's time is, he wants to spend it with Krishna. And you want to see how best you are engaged in Krishna consciousness. So this is about punctuality. That point I found was very important. But like some places, punctuality is not important, depending on the environments and the culture of people. Like in India, time, if you tell, if the person will say, just here, it's about like 20 hours or something. Say, just here, 20 hours. Because they used to like long journeys and, just here, 20 hours. It'll take you 20 hours to go, just here. So that's the way they are. And they can sit for long hours also to speak. When the speaker is speaking, they can sit for long hours. They won't get up. That's also there. So we may not have that ability. We're just waiting when it's going to finish. But Prabhupada, he stressed in his lecture to hear about Krishna consciousness from the Guru, who must be a pure devotee, rather than to approach Krishna directly. So that's a very important point. And it quotes that even Prahlad Maharaj, who was a Shakshravate avatar, and like he's like an empowered representative of the Lord, but his first duty was to serve his spiritual master. So service to the spiritual master is very, very important. And respecting the spiritual master, the Guru Puja, and we'll speak about it a little just now. And Prabhupada said that we should be very careful in our association. We don't mix with sahajas, we don't, professional men, or even Vaishnavas who are not very well behaved. Our association should be limited. Generally, people come with a lot of material baggage, attachments, baggage. And especially if you're living in the temple and you associate more with people from the outside, who may be like devotees to some level, but who have a lot of material ideas, we may become polluted also. So therefore we don't intimately associate with them. I remember when I was living outside and I would come to the temple, but I would not go to the brahmachari quarters, right? I would not stay there because they were devotees who were living from the inside. They were full-time devotees. So that you have to be cautious of. And in last night I was looking at the memories of Srila Prabhupada, a devotee named Mahakratu. So they offered Guru Puja to Prabhupada, and he was just about to start singing when there was some clattering, some sound. Someone was banging the door on the boga room. Just interesting. So Prabhupada, he put his cartels down and he looked over at the devotee making the noise. He asked, "Why are you disturbing the class?" So the devotee ran over and said, "There's a devotee sleeping in the boga room." Where our vegetables and other items are stored, boga room. Prabhupada looked very surprised and he said, "Is it a devotee or a demon?" Yeah, because devotees come to the Bhagavatam class and hear from the spiritual master. So Prabhupada said, "Bring him here." So under Prabhupada's authority, he went banging the door. He said, "Prabhupada wants you to come out immediately." So the door flew open and the devotee practically, fell at Prabhupada's with his sleepy eyes. He staggered and he was in front of Prabhupada now. And then he paid his obeisances. Prabhupada looked very sternly at him. But when the boy got up, Prabhupada was saying to come closer. And as he came closer, then he stopped. But then Prabhupada said, "No, come more closer." And he realized that it was a new devotee. It's a new devotee. So Prabhupada said, "Are you a devotee or a demon?" The boy said, Prabhupada, I think I'm a devotee. I'm a devotee. So Prabhupada said, very interesting, and I'll read it. Devotees come to their guru's puja, and they come to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. They don't miss these things. This is a devotee. You should sit down and attend the class. Prabhupada was very strong on that devotee, but when he turned to Mahamsa Swami, he said, and this is quite bold statement he made, because the leadership is so dirty, untidy, everything is a mess. Prasadam is wasted, everything is a mess here. So this affects the consciousness of everyone, and we should never ever try to waste prasadam. I myself will never try to waste it. Well, we can eat also, but yeah, we must not waste prasadam. And if you keep prasadam in your rooms, then ants will come and cockroaches will come. You'll get devotee association there. You have to watch out. So then, Prabhupada also commented that you should hear the spiritual master. Any comments so far from what I said? Anybody like to comment? Rag, you like to comment on anything? Okay, then the Prabhupada was speaking that we cannot approach the Lord directly because we have to go through a via medium. And I was looking at last night at some verses from the Bhagavatam and other scriptures. And this is from the, let's read this verse. I probably didn't take that. Anyway, I'll just read the verse. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narada Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? Now this is Prahlad Maharaj speaking. Sisi Raghunath ki. So this verse is there in the 7th canto. As we'll see also in later verses, that Prahlad Maharaj, although he was offered so many benedictions he might have desired, but he refused them. Even from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And from this, you can see that the disciple does not serve the Lord directly, but serve the spiritual master first. Any comments on that? Okay. But on the contrary, when he was offered all these benedictions, he asked the Lord to engage him in the service of his servant Narada Muni, meaning his guru. So one should, from this we could learn, one should serve the spiritual master first. It is not that one should, bypass the spiritual master and desire to serve the Supreme Lord. And this is the principle of Vaishnavism as stated by Narottam Das Thakur. What's that verse? Raghava Pandit, Tandere Charane? Mehoe Abhilas. Yeah, one should not be anxious to offer direct service to the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, but one must become the servant of the Lord. And what's that verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? Raghava? Gopi? Yeah, Gopi Bharata Pada Kamaloira Dasa Dasa Nudas. That's in the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the process of approaching the Supreme Lord. Because the more servants you serve, the more sweeter devotional service comes. When you become the servant of the servant of the servant. Like, the pujari is worshipping their deity. Somebody is taking the lamb, the prasadam, and serving it to all the Vaishnavas. He's becoming the servant of the servant of the servant. So therefore you have to be you have to rush for that service. Like Nikunja and Sukumari are always ready to do that, and others as well. Yeah. So the first service should be rendered to the spiritual master, because by the mercy of the spiritual master, we can get the Supreme Lord. And this is the secret of success. The more we serve the spiritual master, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, we sing every morning. What is that verse? The last one. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado. Yeah. One must first be prepared to serve the spiritual master. And when one is qualified, he can automatically then be on that platform to serve the Lord. So therefore, Prahlad Maharaj, he says that he rather serve his spiritual master, but he never proposed to directly serve the Lord. And that is the Prabhupada writes in the purport as a right conclusion. As a right conclusion. As it's quoted from the verse, how can I give up the service of my spiritual master who has favored me in such a way that I'm now able to see you face to face? Because he's seeing Lord Nishingadev face to face. So it's only by the mercy of the spiritual master. Yeah. And there's lots of purports, even in the second canto, is talking about the bona fide representative of God as good as God himself. You have heard all this. See, a sinful person cannot approach the Lord directly. But the sinful person can approach the pure devotee directly. Yeah. And if the sinful person remains under the guidance of a pure devotee, and what's the definition of a pure devotee? Who's a pure devotee? Only Prabhupada is a pure devotee. Others? What's the definition of a pure devotee? Yeah, there's different definition. That is correct. Yeah, that's also correct. But somebody who is following the principles of Krishna consciousness strictly and on the order of the spiritual master is a pure devotee. Yeah, that's also there. And the spiritual master must be in disciplic succession, and service to the spiritual master must be done. And in one of the purports, Prabhupada was referring to, this is, I think, in one of the purports. Yeah, on the second canto it was. Yeah, second canto in the 7th chapter, he was talking about, or in other words, the loving representative of the Lord is more kind and more easy to approach. Then he says about the person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotee upon his head is certainly a, what is it? Dead body. Dead body. Just like there's a common saying that first we should love the dog of the beloved before one shows loving sentiments to the beloved. Like, when you go to people's home, if you love their dog very much, they're very happy. Like we happened to go to one person's house, he had 2 pit bulls, his dog. And he loved the dog so much. Myself, Krishna Chaitanya was there. And the man was loving the dog so much. Oh, no, he won't bite you, he won't bite you. He's coming to, I think, no, I don't want him to touch me. Please, please. They had to go and lock him up. But he loved the dog so much. So if we but I had to tell him, not that I showed any love for the dog. I told him, no, take the dog away. Yeah. So, we should get the dust of a devotee, a pure devotee, who has served another pure devotee. like what we're talking about is the disciplic succession. Because Lord Krishna is the property of his pure unconditional devotees. And as such, only the devotees can deliver another devotee. So Krishna is never obtainable directly. So Prabhupada speaks about in the second canto, third chapter about that. And then there's a couple more, and we'll get on to the next. There's not very much discussed here in this particular part of the diary. Service to the Lord begins with the service of his servants. And this is quite interesting. It's talking about Narada Muni himself. O Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the servant of a certain maidservant engaged in the service of Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service. So we can see Narada Muni in his previous birth, then he got that opportunity because he engaged in the service of great servants. Because service to devotees is more valuable than the service of the Lord. Service to devotees is more valuable. And therefore we should choose like a bona fide servant and surrender more. And as you know, the spiritual master is the transcendental via medium by which you can visualize the Lord. He gives you that access. And the proportion you surrender to the spiritual master, then he will, that amount Krishna will be revealed to you. Like that. And Prabhupada writes this, all these points are in the Bhagavatam. Yeah, but this is a little interesting that just like when we hear of the sons of Kuvera, what are the names? And Nalakuvera. Those two sons, they got the mercy of Narad Muni. He was very affectionate to them. And he wanted them to come face to face with the Lord. Isn't it? He wanted them to get the mercy of the Lord. So Krishna honors that. The way it's written, I'll just read it, maybe it sounds better. Although these two young men are the sons of very rich Kuvera and have nothing to do with them, Devarishi Narada is very dear and affectionate devotee. And therefore, because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance. But this is quite interesting. This is from the 10th canto, 10th chapter, text 25. So they were able to see the Lord face to face. But still, it was by that mercy of the spiritual master. Still by the mercy of a devotee. Now, then we would think, like sometimes people have this idea that, I can be initiated directly by the Lord from within. But, and they often quote Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. And the Lord, we know, is within every living entity as the super soul. And he initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive that initiation. Then you may argue, I'm also willing to get initiated like that. But then Prabhupada writes some nice point. He says, the Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma. To be initiated directly by the Lord from inside, because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. So therefore, the post of Brahma to officiate in the creation of the universe is offered to the most pure living being. And unless one is so qualified, one can expect to be treated like Brahmaji directly. So you can't say, well, I'm going to take initiation like that. No. But you can, it's possible, but the process of accepting a spiritual master, following his instruction, listening to the Bhagavad Gita or hearing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then it's possible. So those are important points that were which I picked up, which is not in the diary, to make that particular point. Any questions on that? Okay. So then, there were a lot of devotees were coming in because there were the GBC meeting, Lord Chaitanya's appearance day, and devotees were coming in. So then Prabhupada called the devotees to his room, some very senior devotees, and he immediately raised the question, because you have householders and sannyasis, and there were grihastha and sannyasi controversy, because the sannyasi will be thinking, well, I'm preaching so hard, but to support the grihastha at the temple. So these things happen. And Prabhupada, he got directly into the matter. And he said that we must be attached to Krishna's family, not to the material bodily concept of life. The stool family or pig family, as he put it. So the material bodily concept of life, we're not the body. My daughter always brought that up. She said, why do you talk about this all the time? I've never heard you not talking about it. Whether I'm on television or whether I went on any place, I brought this point up, that you're not the body, because it's such an important point, and we think we are the body. So and Prabhupada explained that sannyas means to reject such conceptions. And household life, is some concession only. And then he said, however, since our Krishna conscious society is based on this principle of renunciation, all Krishna conscious persons are actually sannyasis. The outer dress does not matter. But still he said that the householders can rise up to that level of formal sannyas. Get the danda, and that should be encouraged also. Okay. Raghava is smiling. What do you think of Raghava? I know Raghava for a very long time. Well, we have the same name actually. Yeah. Then Srila Prabhupada, having set the tone right about, he wanted to, resolve this controversy, then the GBC meetings began. And the GBC meetings, the Governing Body Commission is the ultimate managing authority in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And that is like through legal documents, through training and discourses of Srila Prabhupada. You could read all his, letters and books, and you'll see that he clearly identified the GBC as the highest managerial authority. It's called UMA, Ultimate Managerial Authority. We may not have faith in them, but still this is his this is how he saw it, but whatever decision they take, we accept in the end. And during that first annual general meeting, when they had in 1975, the first meeting, Srila Prabhupada, he guided the whole meeting. And he said how it should be followed, the process, and you should have a secretary, you should have a chairperson, there should be voting. That process was there. and Srila Prabhupada even raised his hand up to vote, to set the example. So that was the process. That was the process, yeah. And he didn't want them to stick around too long, and he wanted some rotation also. And that's very beneficial for growth or development. That's very good, important. Yeah. So then we go to March 1976, and we'll just close up with that. There's quite a few points here. March 7th, 1976, and Prabhupada went to inspect the front wall where one devotee, Pandu, he was painting pictures of his books. And Jayapataka Maharaj said, Prabhupada, this will take at least 4 or 5 days to complete, indicating that it's like too long to complete, you know what I mean? Indirectly saying that. But Prabhupada, he said he wasn't concerned how long it take, as long as it is done nicely. So sometimes we may rush to do something, and we have an idea that must be done in that specific time. But it may not happen. Yeah. And many hundreds of devotees, the sannyasis were all coming, and there were crowds, and Prabhupada's Vyasasan, they fenced it off, and it was Lord Chaitanya's birthday. Then Prabhupada started revealing a little bit more of this devotional psychology of Prahlad Maharaj. He said, prior to Lord Nishinga's appearance, Prahlad always refers to Hiranyakashipu as the best of the demons. He would never call him father. But Prabhupada explained that after Hiranyakashipu was killed personally, by the Lord, he was therefore liberated. And thus Prahlad's moods changed. He therefore began to refer to him as my father. It's quite a nice point, I thought. Yeah. So the devotees were dancing, and Prabhupada was also enthusiastic. And then later, Prabhupada is in a discussion with Harisuri Prabhu. And for almost half an hour, he's preaching to him about how the disciples to become gurus. And each one of them to make thousands of disciples and spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And Prabhupada was very enthusiastic. So in the evening, there was a GBC meeting, and then all the men came in, the GBC men came in, and Prabhupada is asking Harisuri now to speak about what he spoke earlier to him about. But he was reluctant to do so, and Prabhupada briefly instructed them that yes, he told them just as he had made thousands of disciples, he wants each of them to make 10,000 each. It's a lot, right? He encouraged them to become increasingly more qualified and rise to the position of spiritual masters. But to do this, and he went on and he stressed that one has to really follow the principles. He has to chant his minimum prescribed round, follow the regulative principle. He spoke about enthusiasm, that he was 70 years old, with no money, no men, but in Vrindavan he was 70, and as he left Vrindavan, no money, no men, no facility, but he had enthusiasm. Yeah. And then they were reporting from the GBCs, and there were reports came from different devotees, and they were, the first chairperson was Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and Satsarup Maharaj was the first secretary. And they spent time, redefining zones, and Prabhupada, speaks about the GBC had agreed to rotate the members, some of the members. They have to move them around. Yeah. So that happened, and then in the more towards the evening, then Prabhupada was having his massage, and then Harisuru Prabhu was saying how when he was 14 that his mother had told him that while she was in the womb, one of the relatives was trying to convince her to abort him or kill him whilst in the womb. So that's really sad. And she had given her some knitting needle which to do it with. I don't know how that's done, but... So he said my mother refused, and she buried the needles in the back, but another lady agreed to do that. And Srila Prabhupada was shocked, because he shook his head in amazement. And then he said, now I can understand the advantage of birth in India. Because at that time, but now there's abortions everywhere. But at that time in India, that's like hardly heard of in his times. He said people here could not even dream of such a thing. Then he added, Krishna saved you because he knew you were a devotee. He knew that he was a devotee. Then let us read this last part. He lamented over the unfortunate position of women in the West, who he said are encouraged by their parents to behave like prostitutes in order to capture some rich men while still youthful. This is a heavy statement. He pointed out that the risks they are prepared to take to become murderesses simply out of sexual urge. That's how it concludes. So thank you very much. Is there any comments or questions? Anybody like to comment on anything? Oh, just give him the microphone.
So the theme of what you're speaking about is very interesting, actually. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a story of Shivananda Shain and that dog. So Prabhupada says in the purport that Shivananda Shain's attachment for the dog was a great boon for that animal. It was quite interesting because when this dog got lost, Shivananda Shain sent a search party to find this dog. I mean, no one looks for a dog in India. What to speak about looking for a dog at night? So eventually, when they found this dog in the association of Lord Chaitanya, Shivananda Shain offered his obeisances to the dog to counteract any offenses he had committed. So a pure devotee, devotee is so special that if we can get that mercy, actually, this is how we make progress in spiritual life. I just want to make that comment. And then the second thing you mentioned about, your daughter and you, repeating that about the body. In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there's a beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada where he says, here and in many other places there is repetition. But according to the scriptures, repetition of a philosophical point on the glories of Krishna is not a literary weakness. It is said that at a time of bewilderment, of wonder or great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over. This is not a flaw. So that is also, I found that quite interesting, because I remember when I was doing the Bhatta program here in 1987, and then the devotees would come for the program, and then sometimes later this one boy said, "But Prabhu, you're always repeating yourself in the class." So then I asked him, can you mention one thing that I repeated? And he wasn't able to. So that was also very interesting that, we say, "Oh, but we heard this before," but we actually meant to hear that over and over again. And after some years in Krishna consciousness, you come to the point of realizing that, we are not bright sparks actually, or I'll speak for myself. So, even if you read the Gita and you finish the Gita, you start reading the Gita again.
Yes,
and again,
yes.
and again, and again. And invariably, like this point I'm reading now is coming from I don't know how many, repetition of reading the Gita. But I missed that point in so many previous readings of it. So Prabhupada's purports are like so special actually. And even the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, when Prabhupada spoke that there were not many people present at that time. And that became the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. So I'm just saying this for, devotees who are present now, that when you have this opportunity to speak about Krishna, we shouldn't think, oh, there's a one person in the room, or we shouldn't feel less enthused by the audience, whether thousands of people are sitting in the audience or one person is sitting. We should have that same fervor to present this message of Krishna consciousness, because you never know who is going to go away with that message, and actually it'll make a difference in their lives. I think it was 96 or 97, they asked me to go to Ladysmith to do a Krishna Astami talk.
Yeah, I remember that guy.
I went there, and I came back, I didn't think much of it. And some 15 or 20 years later, one of those guys
got a try. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. And he said, "Prabhu, are you that person who spoke?" I said, "I don't know." But he said, "I think you are, because, remember."
I was there that day.
And he said, "I still remember what you said in class." And he repeated that one sentence I said there at that time.
It was, I think, by Avikar's house we had this program, Avi or somebody. Yeah, and his name also was, I think, with the same name. That guy. I was there that day when you I was present. Thank you for that. That's really brilliant. I give it to Ravindra Swarup. But I just want to comment on you're not the body. For devotees who don't like to listen to you are not the body, means that you are the body. That's what it means. Because you don't like listening to it. Because a person who is on a higher platform will like listening to it, because it's a statement from the scripture. Isn't it? Sure, carry on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much for your wonderful class. Yeah, so like Prabhu was saying, Raghunath, Pandit Prabhu was saying, like also like for many programs that I go to, preaching to new people, and it's always nice to listen to different devotees speaks about the body and the soul, and not this body. So this also is also good in a way it reminds us to remember that we are the spirit soul, not this body.
Okay, thank you. Wonderful, yeah. Anybody else like to share anything? Would you like to say anything? Oh, okay.
No, I just thought of this one thing that my Guru Maharaj would say. He would say, it's very impressive if, say, someone can memorize the whole Gita, but then he gives the example of like a cookbook. He's like, it's very impressive if someone can memorize all the recipes of the cookbook, but it's even more impressive if someone can actually cook one of those recipes really well. So in the same way, it's like, Gyan and Vigyan. Maybe we can memorize all of the shlokas, but if we can actually realize just one verse in the Gita, then that's like perfection.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Make one nice recipe, yeah? You have to do one. We have to use your philosophy. No, just joking. But Raghava Pandit was talking about the dog. And the dog, I remember it was who was serving coconut pulp to the dog? Lord Chaitanya was serving coconut pulp to the dog. And once we were in down the beach on the south coast, and we were celebrating Ramanuja Acharya's Vyasa Puja birthday, and Giriraj Maharaj was there, and we all were there. And I remember Giriraj Maharaj spoke a little bit, and then he said, "Now we'll listen to the Acharya." So, and then there was some dogs there. And the dogs were, and then Maharaj was serving them some prasadam, some remnants. It reminded me of that, when you were talking about it, it reminded me of that incident. And then Ramanuja Acharya was drinking, there was a tap there, and you remember? And Ramanuja Acharya was drinking the water, and Giriraj Maharaj was running there and taking the remnants. It was such a wonderful exchange between two devotees. I'll just mention it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, tell it in the mic.
There was one Vyasa Puja right there, and it was Giriraj Maharaj and Bhakti Chaitanya Swami. And Bhakti Chaitanya Swami was pulling the prasad out from Giriraj Swami's hands. And Maharaj was eating this prasad, and it was actually falling. And I was there on my knees, basically taking whatever remnants was falling from the mouth of Lord Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, who was actually stealing the prasad from.
You know what I did that time?
Swami.
I was behind them. I'm putting my hand from the back like that. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh God.